The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us on this Monday morning. I'm Maddie Jansen. We begin now with our coverage of the Israel-Hamas war. Airstrikes intensified over the weekend as humanitarian aid convoys started entering Gaza through the Rafah border crossing in Egypt. People on the ground and experts around the world say it's not nearly enough to meet the overwhelming need there. Meanwhile, hostages taken from Israel still languish under Hamas control. NBC's Bree Jackson has the latest from Washington.
A sense of relief following the release of two Americans held in Gaza, Judith Renan and her 17-year-old daughter, Natalie. President Biden speaking with them from the White House.
I just want to say thank you for your services for Israel.
Well, look, that's been long serving. I'm just delighted we're able to get you out. We've been working on it a long time. We're gonna get them all out, God willing.
The Biden administration is still working to secure the release of all the other hostages taken by Hamas terrorists. The U.S. is also increasing its military presence in the region, which includes deploying advanced missile defense systems.
And this is not by way of, in terms of what we're doing by provocation. It's designed to deter, designed to make clear that no one should use this moment in any way to escalate.
As the fighting intensifies, senators visiting Tel Aviv denounced Hamas's attacks.
I just want to say that I grieve with all who have suffered losses, not just Israelis, but Palestinians. They are victims of Hamas as well.
There's a bipartisan push to keep humanitarian aid and other help flowing.
We know there's support in the House, and we think we will get this done, and we'll get it done in a timely way.
It's not only in the interests of the countries of this region, it's in America's interests, it's in the interests of our world.
The U.S. moving more military resources to the Middle East with the hopes of preventing this conflict from spreading. And the U.S. is moving an aircraft carrier and attack ships to the Persian Gulf and putting more U.S. troops on standby who could be deployed on short notice. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
A pillar of Detroit's Jewish community was laid to rest this weekend. Family and friends gathered for Samantha Wool's funeral yesterday. Wool was the board president of a synagogue in Detroit who was found stabbed to death outside her home Saturday morning. Detroit police and the FBI are investigating the murder, but they say there is no evidence to suggest it was motivated by anti-Semitism. In the meantime, Chabad of Bakersfield and Temple Bethel, two local synagogues here in Bakersfield, have made changes since the attacks in Israel, starting with increased security. Even though the conflict is thousands of miles away in Israel, the fears of discrimination are being felt everywhere, including here at home. That's because American Jews are disproportionately affected by hate crimes compared to other religious groups.
The security provides more of a sense of security that you're technically safer. Obviously we need to do everything that we can to keep safe, to keep our community safe, to keep our children safe, because anti-Semitism has risen about 500% in the past 2 weeks, just in the past 2 weeks, and we need to keep ourselves safe.
Do we think that there's an actual threat that we know of? We can't say there is, but that's not how they don't announce their threats, do they? So we are making sure there is a lot of fear. But you know what? This is what it means to be a Jew in the world. We've always had people who were out to hurt us. And sadly, we have to protect ourselves.
As the war in Israel officially reaches 2 weeks, both synagogues share that they'll continue to have increased security with the help of city law enforcement, gates, and cameras. Officials with the synagogue say they are grateful to have the help of the city.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Occupation is a crime! It's a crime! Occupation
In Southwest Bakersfield, our local Palestinian community held a rally Friday. Demonstrators with All Out for Palestine say they are here to support Palestinians and the innocent civilians caught in the middle of war.
They accost you in public. Why not hide the flags? Why not put them down? If we do that, they're winning. We're here to show that we are here. We're not going anywhere. We're citizens of this country just as everyone else is. And we take great pride in where we're from, and we feel nothing but enormous pain seeing the genocide of our people live streamed, seeing children pulled from the rubble.
Many Palestinian protesters said they do not excuse the attacks on Israel that started the war, but they added that the tension has been building for years. Making news around the nation, the past few weeks have been chaotic on Capitol Hill, with just one candidate at a time running and failing to win the top job of House Speaker. But now there are 9 Republicans gunning for the Speaker's gavel. Ali Rafa is tracking it all from Capitol Hill.
It's back to square one with a whole new slate of candidates. 9 House Republicans now throwing their hats in the ring for the Speaker's gavel, and as of right now, there's no clear frontrunner.
This is embarrassing for the Republican Party. It's embarrassing for the nation, and we need to look at one another and solve the problem.
Ousted former Speaker Kevin McCarthy now supporting Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer, who served in House leadership with him. The candidates range from 11-term Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas to the relatively new hardcore Trump supporter Byron Donalds of Florida. In fact, only 2 of the 9 candidates voted to certify the 2020 election results on January 6th. The wide-open race comes after House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan lost 3 votes on the House floor, and Majority Leader Steve Scalise pulled out after failing to gain enough support. With the government shutdown deadline looming, Republicans face mounting pressure to end the infighting.
It's too dangerous right now. The world's on fire, and this is so dangerous what we're doing.
Candidates will make their pitch behind closed doors. They'll need to get 217 votes, potentially from among their rivals, to win the Speaker's gavel.
Getting 217 is obviously going to be very difficult and is the sort of Rubik's Cube of the answer to all of this.
You knew at Sunrise, a burglary suspect in custody after residents took matters into their own hands. This is on just the other side of the Kern County border in Lancaster. Deputies there responded to a call of an assault in progress Saturday night. They say when they arrived, though, that suspect had been beaten and detained by several residents who followed him after seeing him breaking into homes. So far, that suspect has not been identified. After a weekend-long search, a swimmer is still missing this morning after being swept away by the strong currents of the Kern River. This happened Saturday afternoon near Lake Ming. Crews say they went up and down the river using boats and drones trying to find that missing swimmer. This is a look at some of the search efforts. Crews say they were back in the water yesterday, but still couldn't find anyone. This morning, one of the most popular helicopters in aviation is ready to take the skies of Kern County. The Sheriff's Office has 2 new choppers filled with impressive technology. 17's Rob Hagan has a bird's eye view.
It's bigger, it's faster, it has more tech, and it's needed more than ever in Kern County.
The H-125 is the best helicopter in the market.
And the Kern County Sheriff's Office is getting 2 of them. They're replacing 2 old MD-500 helicopters purchased in 1986 with over 15,000 flight hours each, with 2 brand new H-125s. And they even come with AC.
That may not sound like a big deal to you, but in the middle of the summertime, when it's 106 on the ground, it's 115 in a helicopter.
And that's not all. The H-125s have twice the seating capacity, a hoist system for rescues, and new avionics. So pilots don't have to use paper maps while navigating the motorcycle in the sky.
The TFO or the observer could enter in an address, and that helicopter will fly itself to there. I could be hands off.
The helicopters will be used for nightly patrols and search and rescue operations. The FLIR camera, or forward-looking infrared, could pick up the heat signature of someone discarding a cigarette from thousands of feet away.
We may be 5 miles out, but we're going to get there about 3 miles faster because that thing can see a lot further.
Sheriff Donnie Youngblood says the agency's downsizing its fleet to help pay for the $6 million price tag for each H-125. The sheriff says each helicopter packed with more than 800 horsepower is a force multiplier, like having 10 deputies strong on the streets.
When I was a patrol commander, we had 91 deputies that served patrol in Bakersfield. Today we're fielding about 48.
The H-125 helicopter has twice the horsepower and a faster takeoff time.
because seconds save lives.
You can get airborne here and be in East Bakersfield in less than 5 minutes.
The helicopters fly at 150 miles per hour. Pilots can't fly unless they have a minimum of 250 hours flight time. The sheriff's office purchased the helicopters back in March. Since then, they've been adding 21st century tech.
I've been flying since 1977. This is obviously near and dear to my heart.
Making news around the state, a federal judge who overturned California's 3-decade-long ban on assault weapons has done it again. U.S. District Judge Robert Benitez has said that these kinds of weapons are commonly used by both criminals and people who obey the law. But he believes they have to use those weapons to protect themselves. In a statement, Governor Newsom says he's working with State Attorney General Rob Bonta to fight the ruling, adding, quote, California's gun safety laws work to keep our families safer. Judge Benitez is hell-bent on making it more dangerous for our kids to go to school, families to go to the mall, or attend a place of worship. Legislators in Sacramento have passed a new law that will expand a moratorium on a certain kind of rat poison. Assembly Bill 1322 will suspend the sale and use of diphenol, a poison created before 1970 that's meant to kill rats and other small rodents. Wildlife advocates stress that this poison is harmful to all wildlife, such as raccoons, possums, and even mountain lions and coyotes that might accidentally consume it. The new law will go into effect January 1st.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.